Evening shadows stretched long in the alley behind the apartment building. A small orange tabby sat alone, its collar bell catching the last light. Silent, the cat didn't flinch as he approached. It just watched him with steady green eyes, tail flicking slowly.
You are definitely not a stray. Too clean, too calm. Someone's been looking after you.
A small silver tag hung from the red collar, etched with a phone number, the only link to whoever was missing this cat.
Hello? I found your cat. The one with the red collar and bell? Yeah, orange tabby.
On the other end, a woman's voice broke into a trembling whisper. Thank you. Please bring him to apartment 304. Hurry, please. Kotaro carried the cat through the quiet hallway, its purr vibrating softly against his chest. Apartment 304. The door was unremarkable. He shifted the cat into one arm and raised his hand to knock.
She sounded like she'd been holding her breath for 3 weeks.
Before his knuckles touched wood, the handle clicked from inside. The door swung inward, revealing a figure buried inside an oversized gray hoodie, long ash-purple hair spilling from the shadows. The orange tabby stiffened in Kotaro's arms, then launched itself through the air. With a desperate mew, she caught him against her chest, fingers sinking into his fur, and a choked sob escaped her, but no sound followed.
Wait, I know that hoodie, that hair. She sits 2 rows behind me, every lecture, and never speaks.
Tears spilled down her pale cheeks, mouth open in a silent cry, the bell jingling softly as she clutched him. She didn't even seem to see him. Her whole world had narrowed to the purring weight in her arms.
She's from my economics lecture. The girl who always keeps her hood up. I never even knew her name.
He wanted to say something, anything, but the raw grief on her face locked the words in his throat. Her lips moved, forming a shape he couldn't hear. Maybe the cat's name, maybe a prayer.
Just return the cat. That's all I came to do. But this feels like something else entirely.
The girl's glassy eyes slowly focused on the person still standing in her doorway.
You are in my class, aren't you? Economics with Professor Tanaka.
She hastily wiped her face with her hoodie sleeve, then stepped back, opening the door wider. A silent invitation. The living room was small but neat. She gestured toward the sofa, and Kotaro followed her lead. Now seated, she seemed even smaller, folding into herself as Mochi purred on her lap.
His name is Mochi. I've had him since he was a kitten. He's been gone for 3 weeks.
Her gaze drifted to a framed photo on the shelf, an older woman holding a tiny orange kitten.
That's my grandmother. She gave him to me before she died.
Kotaro's breath caught. There was more weight behind those words than she was saying.
She was the only family who never made me feel broken for who I am.
How did he get out? Mochi. I mean, he's clearly not an outdoor cat.
Wakana's fingers tightened in Mochi's fur. She didn't answer right away. Instead, she stood and walked to the door, pointing at a shiny new deadbolt.
My ex-boyfriend, Ren. He kept a key after we broke up. He let Mochi out. Twice.
He let him out on purpose. Just opened the door and let him wander off.
The first time he said it was an accident. The second time, he told me I loved the cat more than him.
Wait, dark hair, sharp features, always smirking. I've seen a guy like that hanging around our building at night.
You've seen him? Recently?
I live 3 doors down. I've seen him more than once. I just didn't know who he was.
The safe room felt smaller. The danger that had been abstract was now right outside her door. The next morning, they stood before the building manager's office, the air heavy with unspoken dread.
We need to report a man who's been entering an apartment without permission. He's dangerous.
The manager raised an eyebrow, unimpressed. A lost key wasn't his problem.
I've also seen him lurking in the hallways at night. Apartment 307. I am a tenant here.
Wakana added, her voice barely a whisper, that he had let her cat out twice. Reluctantly, the manager took down the complaint, but his apathy was written all over his face. As they left, a shadow detached itself from the far end of the hallway, Ren, Wakana's hand shot out and gripped Kotaro's sleeve. She was frozen.
Keep walking. Don't look at him.
They filed the complaint, but as they passed his smirk, the paper felt thinner than air. Kotaro didn't take her back to the apartment. He walked her straight to the nearest police station.
We need to file a report. This man entered her apartment twice and forced her cat out. He's still lurking.
I changed the locks, but he still shows up. I have the management complaint here.
The officer listened grimly, then recommended a restraining order. It was the only legal barrier strong enough. Before they could leave, her phone buzzed. Ren's name glowed on the screen.
Put it on speaker. Let the officer hear.
You think changing locks will stop me? That cat was always in the way. I'll handle it my way.
Wakana's hand shook. The voicemail continued, a cold promise delivered in monotone.
Stop hiding behind strangers, Wakana. You know where you belong.
The officer noted it as stalking violation. But in Wakana's ears, the words played louder than any siren. A fist pounded on her door, rattling the cheap wood. Mochi hissed and darted under the sofa.
Wakana, open up. I know you are in there.
Go away, Ren. You are not supposed to be here.
That cat is mine, too. You can't keep me out. Let me in, or I'll make this worse.
Footsteps in the hall. Kotaro, just back from class, saw the threatening figure and quickened his pace.
Step away from her. Now. I won't tell you twice.
You are the meddler from 307. This doesn't concern you. She's my girlfriend.
She's not, and you are trespassing. Leave before I call the police a second time.
Ren's smirk didn't falter, but he backed a step. His eyes promised a return later. Kotaro didn't move until the hallway was silent. Inside, Wakana clutched Mochi, silent tears streaking her face.
We're filing for the restraining order today. The voicemail and police report are enough to start.
They filed the forms together at the station the same afternoon. Her hand trembled, but his was right next to hers.
I'll stay here on the couch, just until the order is served. I am not leaving you alone.
You don't have to, but thank you. I don't know how to repay this.
Mochi ate with renewed appetite that night. For the first time, the apartment felt guarded. Small rituals formed. He cooked and she washed. When he offered tea, their fingers brushed on the cup.
My grandma used to say, home is wherever the cat sleeps. I thought I'd lost that forever.
You haven't lost it. Mochi's still here, and you are not alone anymore.
Late that night, she draped a spare blanket over him on the couch. In the dark, she whispered her thanks. The restraining order lay unsigned on the coffee table, but for now, the door felt like it might hold. The next morning, Kotaro returned from the hardware store with a chain lock and a small security camera. He worked in silence, drilling the bracket into the doorframe while Mochi supervised from the sofa.
You really don't have to do all this. I've already taken so much of your time.
This isn't about time. It's about making sure he can't just walk in here again.
He showed her the camera feed on his phone, a clear view of the hallway outside.
He's giving up his own life to sit on a couch and guard a door because of me.
Stop looking at me like that. I chose to do this. Okay.
Mochi chose that moment to leap onto the couch, purring loud enough to fill the silence.
He always knows when I am overthinking.
The camera's blue light blinked in the corner. For now, the hallway stayed empty. 2 officers stood in the hallway, the paper in one's hand, a shield between Ren and everything he wanted.
From the window, we watched them walk him to the street. I thought I'd feel safer.
Ren was escorted out, his glare fixed upward at her window like a promise he wasn't finished.
The order is served. He can't come within 100 meters. If he does, they'll arrest him.
He says it like a finished sentence, but in my chest, it still feels like a comma.
That evening, Kotaro cooked curry. They ate at the low table, Mochi weaving between their ankles.
I keep waiting for another knock. Every sound in the hallway still makes me freeze.
Her free hand drifted to the edge of her hood. She tugged, just a little, then stopped.
You don't have to rush. We have time.
The hood stayed up, but she didn't pull it tighter either. 3 days after the order, a crumpled note sat on the living room floor. It hadn't been there when she left. The scrawl was unmistakable. "I know you are still in there."
He was inside. The front door lock, I changed that, but the fire escape window.
Before she could finish the thought, she was already calling Kotaro.
Don't touch anything. I am on my way.
Kotaro arrived in minutes. He went straight to the fire escape window. The lock was old, scratched, forced.
He had a key or picked the lock. We're sealing every entry point today.
They replaced every lock, window, door, even the chain, until the apartment was a fortress.
We have to report this. He violated the order. He was inside.
The second report was filed that evening. The paper still felt thin, but the locks were solid.
Your apartment isn't safe. I have a spare room. It's yours until this is over.
I can't keep dragging him into this. But the note, he was inside.
Within an hour, they had packed her essentials and Mochi's bed into a single suitcase. Kotaro's apartment smelled faintly of coffee and old books. Mochi padded out of his carrier and began exploring.
You take the bedroom. I'll take the couch. And this one guards the door.
Mochi claimed the foot of the bed within minutes, purring as if he'd always lived there. Late that night, the apartment was silent, except for the distant hum of the refrigerator.
Thank you for not letting me face this alone.
You never were alone. You just didn't know it yet.
In the darkness, Mochi's bell jingled once, as if in agreement, and then the apartment fell quiet. A few evenings later, the apartment felt smaller, not from fear, but from words waiting to be spoken.
After she died, I stopped talking. Not because I had nothing to say, but because no one else listened like her. When I came out at 16, she was the only one who didn't flinch. She just held my hand and smiled. That's why Mochi matters. He's the last thing she gave me. The last proof that someone saw me and didn't look away. Ren was the first person after her who pretended to. And I let him. I thought hiding was the price of being loved. This hood, it's not armor, it's a cage. But every time I think about taking it off, I hear the names people said. I see their stares.
So, all this time, she's been fighting 2 wars, one outside and one inside. You don't owe anyone visibility, but you also don't owe anyone your hiding.
Mochi stretched, his bell breaking the silence. He padded over and pressed his head into Wakana's palm. The hood stayed on. But for the first time, it didn't feel like a cage. It felt like a door left ajar. The hallway had been quiet for days, until Wakana turned the corner and saw him leaning against Kotaro's door.
There you are. Did you really think I wouldn't find my way to your new hideout?
He's blocking the door. The stairs are behind him. I can't run.
Come back to me, Wakana. I've changed. I won't touch the cat again. Just come home.
Number, you are lying. You put a note inside my apartment. You haven't changed at all.
His expression flickered. Then his hand shot out and closed around her wrist, fingers digging in too hard.
I said, come back. You don't get to say no.
The apartment door swung open. Kotaro's fist connected with Ren's shoulder before his brain caught up.
She said no. Now get your hands off her and leave before I break the restraining order myself.
This isn't over. You can't hide her forever.
Kotaro pulled her inside, threw the deadbolt, and dialed 110. His voice was steel.
This is Kotaro. The man from the restraining order just grabbed her. Send officers now.
10 minutes later, the hallway filled with uniforms, but Ren had already slipped away. Wakana sat on the couch, staring at the red marks circling her wrist. They followed the officers to the precinct. Kotaro stood beside her as she showed them the marks. Within the hour, a warrant was issued for violation of the restraining order, but Ren was still out there.
We can't go back tonight. We'll stay at a hotel until they catch him.
They packed a small bag and left under the cover of darkness. The hotel room was small and anonymous. Mochi curled on the pillow as if nothing had happened. The bell on Mochi's collar jingled softly. Neither of them slept. 2 days later, in the stale hotel silence, Kotaro's phone buzzed. The caller ID read, police.
They caught him? At the old apartment? We'll be there in 20 minutes.
I have to see him again, after what he did, but this time, he can't touch me.
At the station, she stood before the one-way glass. The officer's voice was flat. "Is this the man?"
That's him. That's Ren.
The officer filled out a form, and just like that, the threat had a cell number. In the waiting area, her legs gave out. Kotaro caught her before her knees hit the tile. The sob that broke from her was raw and loud. Not silent, not controlled, just grief finally released.
That's it. Let it out. You are safe now. I am here.
She cried until the sound ran out. And when she lifted her head, the hood had slipped back just a little, enough to see the first light. They returned to Kotaro's apartment as evening fell. Mochi was already on the sofa, tail flicking as if nothing had happened.
I am tired of being afraid. Tomorrow in class, I want to take this off.
Then I'll be sitting right there, 2 rows ahead, like always.
What if they stare? What if the names come back?
Then they'll see someone who refused to be a shadow anymore.
That evening, she stood before the bathroom mirror. Her hands rose to the hood's edge, trembling only once.
I can do this. I can.
Kotaro watched from the hallway, saying nothing. He didn't need to. They spent the evening in a quiet that wasn't heavy. Mochi purred between them, a warm anchor, and for the first time, she smiled. Not a small one, a real one. It reached her eyes. They walked into the lecture hall together. The fluorescent lights felt sharper than usual.
2 rows behind him. That's my seat. That's where I'll do it.
The professor clicked on the projector. As the first slide appeared, Wakana took a breath that felt like it came from her bones. Her hands rose. She hooked her thumbs under the hood's edge and pushed it back. Ash-purple hair spilled down her shoulders free for the first time in the middle of a crowded room.
She did it. She really did it.
No one gasped. No one stared. A student behind me just asked to borrow a pen. The world didn't end. It just kept turning, and I was still here.
From his seat, Kotaro caught her eyes and smiled, a single nod that said everything. She pulled out her notebook and began to take notes. Just another student. Just another student. Just another day. That weekend, Kotaro dimmed the lights and pulled up an old movie. The couch felt like the safest place on earth.
I am not wearing the hood, and I don't feel like I am missing a limb.
She's relaxed. Really relaxed. I've never seen her look so present.
During a slow scene, the silence between them shifted. It wasn't empty anymore. He turned at the same moment she did. Their lips met, soft, tentative, full of months of unspoken words. It tasted like tea and safety. A tiny jingle broke the quiet. Mochi had shifted in his sleep, tail flicking once.
He kissed me, and the cat just approved.
I should have done that weeks ago.
They leaned back into the couch cushions, hearts pounding. The movie played on, but neither watched. 1 year later, a new apartment faced the morning sun. Mochi's bed sat in the warmest corner. Mochi, now rounder and slower, batted at a toy mouse with lazy contentment. A framed photo on the shelf caught the light. Kotaro, Wakana, and Mochi, all smiling, her hood gone. Kotaro cooked while Wakana set the table, their movements a quiet choreography built over months. At midnight, the bedroom was soft with moonlight. Mochi had already claimed the foot of the bed. She drifted off with her head on his shoulder. His arm rested across the space where Mochi wasn't. The only sound was the bell, a tiny silver chime as Mochi shifted in his sleep. It didn't ring loud. It never needed to. The lost cat he returned was hers all along. And now, this bell was the only sound in the apartment at midnight. Silence. Then a single soft jingle. Then nothing. An hour later, the bedroom was still. Kotaro stirred, not from a nightmare, but from the tiny chime of Mochi's bell.
He's just shifting. Not a threat, just a cat being a cat.
He turned his head on the pillow. Wakana lay beside him, her old gray hoodie replaced by a simple cotton shirt. No hood, no fear, just the slow rise and fall of her breathing.
A year ago, she couldn't leave her own door. Now she sleeps like the world owes her nothing.
Mochi stretched between them, his bell rolling against the blanket with a sound like a single drop of water. Kotaro reached over, not to touch her, just to let his fingers rest in the warm space between them. He closed his eyes and let the silence hold him. No sirens, no knocking, no whispers. The bell gave one last, sleepy jingle, as if Mochi agreed. Then, the apartment fell into the deepest quiet. No more jingles, no more movement, only the sound of 3 hearts beating at the same slow rhythm. The apartment held its breath in the dark, the kind of stillness that follows a long exhale. Mochi's bell rested against the blanket, motionless. It had rung through alleys, through tears, through sirens. Tonight, it was just a silver weight, holding 1,000 memories without a sound. A year had passed since that first alleyway chime, since a stranger's phone call changed everything. The cat who wandered had found his way home. The girl who hid had found her way out. And in the hush of a single midnight, all of it was held, quietly, completely. The lost cat he returned was never truly lost. He had simply been waiting to bring them together. And now, this bell was the only sound in the apartment. Not a warning, a signature of peace. 3 lives. 1 bell. Midnight. Then, that too faded, leaving only the memory of a jingle and the certainty of home.